Titanfall 2 is a brilliant game, a futuristic sci-fi first-person shooter that blends soldier and mech combat together into a mixture that is simply very fun to play, with a solid campaign and a multiplayer that you can spend hours after hours playing. This is a game that was released almost a decade ago, back in 2016, yet the multiplayer servers are still up, and even though the player numbers are nothing like what they used to be, the game still has a viable player base. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's ever going to be Titanfall 3, despite the potential for it to be a huge success, as Respawn Entertainment, who made the game, are focused on Apex Legends, which right now is hugely popular, with a peak player count of over 200,000 players just on PC. The first Titanfall 2 game didn't have a proper campaign, instead it was essentially an introduction to the multiplayer, which rightly received a lot of criticism. So Respawn Entertainment decided that the sequel should have a fully fleshed out single player campaign, and I have to say they did a good job of it. Now at first glance, this campaign is at its core a generic sci-fi shooter, where you fight as a generic soldier in a generic war against an enemy that wants to steal your resources, with a playtime around 6 hours in length, so around the same length as a Call of Duty campaign. The campaign follows Rifleman Jack Cooper and a Titan called BT-7274, which are thrown together as members of a frontier militia, fighting to protect the frontier planets from being taken over and exploited for their resources by the Interstellar Manufacturing Corporation. The core premise is simple, but one that works, fighting against humanity's nature to acquire more and more resources, regardless of the consequences. Titanfall is a first-person shooter, with the action split between playing as the Rifleman and taking control of the Titan. The Rifleman combat ticks all of the correct boxes that you would expect: fast-paced action with a variety of different weapons. The Titan combat is great, stomping through the battlefield and crushing soldiers underfoot, or blowing them apart with oversized weapons. Titan-on-Titan combat adds new dynamic to the game. No longer can you so easily jump behind cover when your health is low, forcing a change of tactics. We have force shields and vortex generators to stop incoming fire, electric smoke to hide within and do damage over time, along with multiple different weapons. The Titan doesn't have any customization options when it comes to weapons and equipment, though it does have multiple different preset loadouts, catering to different playstyles, which are unlocked as you progress through the campaign, and I like how you can switch between the loadouts that you have unlocked at any time. As far as the graphics are concerned, they are decent enough. Do we have better graphics now? Of course, but for what we have, coupled with the level design and general gameplay, it's certainly nothing to complain about. Something that I really liked is the level design for a few different reasons. First off, they are very diverse. You fight through a dense jungle and buildings to link up with friendly forces, transverse a manufacturing site with constantly moving terrain after your Titan is captured, battle through a training simulation area, investigate a research site where you have to manipulate time to get past obstacles, and take part in a huge head-on assault involving multiple Titans. Then there's how the levels tie into the game's wall running and jump pack mechanics. Here it feels like the levels have been crafted with these mechanics in mind, as you run across panels suspended in mid-air from cranes or across walls to avoid toxic materials on the ground, or through a factory production line where everything is moving. The other aspect that I liked about the levels is how they force the pilot and Titan to work together to get through the environments. There is often things that one of them can't do, such as being able to get past a barrier or across a chasm, forcing them to split up and help each other to progress, a mechanic that is also used to build up their relationship to each other. When it comes to bad things about this campaign, I'm struggling to find anything bad to say. The combat is solid, it has an engaging story, character development and diverse environments. The bottom line is, Titanfall 2 has a great campaign. A co-op mode would have been nice, the ability to play with friends, but that's not a common occurrence when it comes to campaigns. Whilst the single player campaign is decent, it's the multiplayer where the game's replayability lies. The multiplayer has two broad categories. There's player versus player, which has multiple different modes, though in practice, this game is old, and the lack of players shows. Whilst the wait times aren't particularly high, normally less than a a minute to find a game with a full roster of players. There is effectively now only one game mode, unless you are part of a private lobby where the game parameters are decided by the host. If you simply search for all game modes, it's essentially now just attrition, a name for team deathmatch. That's not a huge problem, as attrition has enough of what you want: action-packed soldier and mech combat. The other game mode is Frontier Defense, a player versus environment mode which pits a team of 4 players against waves of enemies. Here the players are tasked with defending a generator as the enemy throw everything at it, from grunts to titans. The pilot combat uses much the same mechanics that traditional first-person shooters of the same genre use, though unlike most games, Titanfall makes greater use of the sandbox, with an optional grapple hook ability and every pilot having jump packs as standard, giving you the ability to quickly run across walls and climb up buildings, opening up the vertical areas of the maps that many games don't explore. Pilot combat comes with the standard weapons that you would expect, from assault rifles to light machine guns and snipers, perfect for killing other pilots, as well as the computer-controlled grunt inspectors, which are essentially just cannon fodder that are harvested for points. What really sets this game apart from most first-person shooters is the Titans, which in most game modes have to be earned by filling up your Titan meter, with points earned by killing the computer-controlled bots and real players before you can summon your Titan from orbit. These huge Titans allow you to stomp across the battlefield, killing other pilots and battling it out against other Titans, with there being 6 pre-made Titan classes to choose from. The Titan combat has seen some balancing issues since the first game, the main one being that Titans no longer have a shield. Instead they have armor which doesn't regenerate, meaning that every shot that hits a Titan does lasting damage. This makes it more practical for pilots to take out Titans with heavy weapons without making them too easy to kill. Titanfall 2 is overall a great game, one that you can pick up for very little right now. If you haven't played this game, then I definitely recommend that you give it a try. If you got this far, I want to thank you very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this review, please consider liking and subscribing. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye for now.